Thank you, and welcome to a brand new Round 2 Wrestling podcast. I am your host, SlimmDa KID, and I personally want to thank you for tuning into this brand new episode here on the 28th of January, 2025. Round 2 Wrestling is your number one news source for everything pro wrestling related. We're going to kick off this brand new episode with Round 1. This is the Pro Wrestling Rumor Mill. WWE has hired Lince Dorado back as a coach and is basing him out of the Performance Center, per Wrestling Observer Radio's Dave Meltzer. Former women's TNA champion Jordynne Grace was spotted at the WWE Performance Center lately, and this is per multiple outlets like Fightful Select. WWE legend Ric Flair was at the WWE Performance Center recently to film an appearance for the upcoming WWE LFG series, per PW Insider. Fightful Select indicates that WWE's CM Punk's shot at Hulk Hogan on this week's Raw episode wasn't scripted, but there's no heat on him for saying it. In fact, several people higher up laughed about it backstage. The Observer says one of WWE's goals with its multi-year partnership with TNA is to hurt AEW by creating the perception that TNA is the number 2 wrestling promotion, even though that's quote-unquote nowhere close to being a reality. TNA did attempt to sell to Tony Khan in 2018, per The Observer. Even though some people think WWE will eventually buy TNA, The Observer says, quote, it would be difficult for TKO WWE to purchase another wrestling program or company until at least 2028. The Wrestling Observer Network says rumors of WrestleMania in 2027 in Indianapolis, Indiana simply aren't true. Indianapolis is getting a WrestleMania event, but it will likely be in the early 2030s. The Observer notes that AEW has filed a trademark for Captain Insano just ahead of a possible return to television for Paul White, formerly known as The Big Show. Warner Bros. Discovery sources indicate that AEW has been among the top streamed live sports events since starting simulcasts of Dynamite and Collision on Max earlier this month, and this is per Fightful Select. That is it. That is enough of the whispers and gossip and the rumors. Let's continue our brand new episode of Round 2 Wrestling by moving on to the next round. This is Round 2 Pro Wrestling News. Controversial 1980s wrestling star dies at age 80.
You what?
Ed Wiskoski, who rose to fame in the 1980s as Colonel De Beers, has passed away. Wiskoski began his wrestling career in 1972. He became a star on the American West Coast, primarily in San Francisco and Portland. He formed a successful tag team with Playboy Buddy Rose, who also gained national fame in the 1980s while working for the American Wrestling Association, or simply AWA. Wiskoski wrestled under several names, including Ed Wiskowski. However, he is best remembered for his character Colonel De Beers, a pro-apartheid character inspired by South Africa's sensitive political and racial climate during the 1980s. Round 2 Wrestling sends its condolences to the family, friends, and fans of the late Ed Wiskoski. AEW pay-per-views soon to be made available on Amazon Prime.
You what?
Amazon Prime might soon become a platform for All Elite Wrestling, AEW pay-per-views, and its exclusive televised events. However, neither AEW nor Amazon has officially confirmed this, so it's unclear if the partnership will start with March's Revolution pay-per-view. Multiple news outlets report the offer is in place between the two parties. Confirmation of the new deal is still pending. Amazon Prime has previously offered boxing pay-per-views for purchase, making this a logical step. The reported availability is expected to include the US, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Buyers likely won't need to be Prime members to purchase the events. If confirmed, Prime would join Triller, payperview.com, and YouTube as digital options for buying AEW pay-per-views. Additionally, Max is expected to offer digital pay-per-view capabilities later on this year. Former WWE World Headquarters sold for $3.75 million.
Oh my God!
The old WWE Titan Towers has been sold. CT Insider is reporting that Titan Towers has been sold for $3.75 million to real estate firm MB Financial Group. The building is expected to be converted into an apartment complex. Quote, "The location is superb," Michael Massimo, CEO and managing partner of MB Financial, said Friday. Quote, "It's on the Stanford-Darien line, and it overlooks Long Island Sound and the Norriton River. The views of Long Island Sound really make this property unique," end quote. For more information, please contact Titan Towers for any and all news regarding what this iconic piece of wrestling history could be or will be turned into. Former WWE pro wrestler discovered to be living as a monk.
That's fucking stupid.
WWE superstar Veer Mahan, aka Rinku Singh, and one-time MLB pitching prospect for the Pittsburgh Pirates, is now living as a renunciate Hindu monk. A Hindu monk who renounces worldly life is called a sannyasi. The Hindu monk practice also renounces material desires and prejudices. For more info and pictures, please visit wrestling_headlines on Instagram. That is the end of Round 2 Pro Wrestling News. A good amount of news to think about for the next week or so. Let's continue our brand new episode here on Round 2 Wrestling by moving right into Round 3. However, warning, this next segment may contain match results from pay-per-views and events not yet televised, including results from AEW, WWE, Ring of Honor, NXT, TNA, NWA, MLW, Defy, AAA, CMLL, New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Noah, Stardom, Rev Pro, etc., etc. All right, NXT North American Champion Tony D'Angelo defeated Ridge Holland to retain the NXT North American Championship. NXT Heritage Cup Champion Lexis King defeated Charlie Dempsey to retain the NXT Heritage Cup. NXT Champion Oba Femi defeated Eddie Thorpe to retain the NXT Championship. The Hurt Syndicate defeated AEW Tag Team Champions Private Party to become the new AEW Tag Team Champions. Ring of Honor World Television Champion Commander defeated QT Marshall to retain the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. NXT Tag Team Champions Fraxium defeated the Rascals to retain the NXT Tag Team titles. NXT Tag Team Champions Fraxium defeated the Nemeths to retain the NXT Tag Team titles. TNA World Champion Joe Hendry defeated Jake Something to retain the TNA World Championship. TNA Knockouts Champion Masha Slamovich defeated Savannah Evans to retain the TNA Knockouts Championship. WWE Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley defeated Nia Jax to retain the WWE Women's World Championship. WWE Intercontinental Champion Braun Breaker defeated Sheamus to retain the WWE Intercontinental Championship. WWE World Heavyweight Champion Gunther defeated Jey Uso to retain the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. AEW International Champion Konosuke Takeshita defeated Katsuyori Shibata to retain the AEW International Championship. GCW Tag Team Champions Garbage Daddies defeated Lycos Gym to retain the GCW Tag Team titles. JCW Champion Masha Slamovich versus Megan Bayne went to a time limit draw. JCW Champion Masha Slamovich retains the title. GCW World Champion Effie defeated Cara Noir to retain the GCW Championship. MLW World Middleweight Champion Mystico defeated Barbaro Cavernero to retain the MLW World Middleweight Championship. That is the end of round 3. Be sure to listen to round 3 again in case you missed your favorite promotion or champion, and whether or not they defended in the past week, and whether or not that title defense was successful, or if a brand new champion was crowned. We are at the end of round 2 wrestling and this brand new podcast, here on the 28th of January, 2025. We are going to conclude with round 4. Did you know, a fan and producer favorite? Did you know our little bits of information and facts about the wrestling world you may or may not have known about? You gotta love the bell. Did you know Cactus Jack, aka Mick Foley, came up with his infamous bang bang phrase during a match in WCW? Foley had just heard the song Love Shack by the B-52s before wrestling that night, and during the contest looked directly at the camera and said, "Bang bang bang on the door, baby." Foley said he later tweaked the phrase to simply bang bang. Did you know Snooki, Michael Cole, Snoop Dogg, Nicholas Cone, and Virgil all have better WrestleMania records than Asuka, who is 0-6 in WrestleMania matches? Did you know Captain Lou Albano chose the nickname Captain because he was once the captain of his football team in high school? He got the idea of wearing rubber bands on his face and beard from one day seeing a homeless man on the street wearing one on his beard. Did you know after being sidelined for 7 months with a leg injury, Hillbilly Jim returned to action for the WWF? In May of 1986, he briefly quit the company to try his hand at a music career. He would return in August of that year. Did you know the first match Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross called together was Crusher Darsow versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan for Mid-South Wrestling back in December of 1983. Lawler was a guest of Bill Watts and was in the territory to conduct business. Watts thought that Lawler would mesh well with Jim Ross to do commentary for a few matches. That is it. That is the end of this brand new round 2 wrestling and the end of round 4. I am your host, SlimmDa KID, and once again, I want to thank you personally for tuning into this brand new podcast here on the 28th of January, 2025. Be sure to tune in next week as I bring you more news, more rumors, and more results from the world of professional wrestling. Round 2 Wrestling is brought to you by Spreaker.com and SlimmDa KID.